Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Good morning from Sridham Mayapur. We're reciting Srimad Bhagavatam daily here. Because our revered spiritual master, Sri Srimad Gauragovinda Maharaj, instructed us that if you don't do any other sadhana, every day you should hear Srimad Bhagavatam. So we've been hearing from Kapila Dev's teachings. This is Canto 3, chapter 25, text 25. Today is a very important verse, a very famous verse. And we want to speak something today about the different stages and results of hearing Krishna Lila and the importance of hearing Krishna Lila. What is proper hearing, what is improper hearing, and the importance of hearing Krishna Lila. So we can recite this together if you have it on your computer. Satam prasangan mama virya samvido bhavanti karna risayana kataha tasjosanat asa pavargavatmani shraddha ratir bhaktir anukramishyati. Srila Prabhupada translates this: in the association of pure devotees, discussion of the pastimes and activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is very pleasing and satisfying to the ear and the heart. By cultivating such knowledge, one gradually becomes advanced on the path of liberation. And thereafter he's freed and his attraction becomes fixed. Then real devotion and devotional service begin. The same verse appears in Madhya Lila chapter 23, Chaitanya Charitamrita. Srila Prabhupada gives a little different translation there. In Chaitanya Charitamrita he says, the spiritually powerful message of Godhead can be properly discussed only in a society of devotees. And it is greatly pleasing to hear in that association. If one hears from devotees, the way of transcendental experience quickly opens, and gradually one attains firm faith that in due course develops into attraction and devotion. In his purport in Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada writes, the process of advancing in Krishna consciousness and devotional service is described here. This is the process. The first point is that one must seek the association of persons who are Krishna conscious and who engage in devotional service. Without such association, one cannot make advancement. Simply by theoretical knowledge or study, one cannot make any appreciable advancement. One must give up the association of materialistic persons and seek the association of devotees, because without the association of devotees, one cannot understand the activities of the Lord. Generally, people are convinced of the impersonal feature of the absolute truth. Because they do not associate with devotees, they cannot understand that the absolute truth can be a person and have personal activities. This is a very difficult subject matter, and unless one has personal understanding of the absolute truth, there's no meaning to devotion. Unless one has personal understanding of the absolute truth, there's no meaning to devotion. Service or devotion cannot be offered to anything impersonal. Service must be offered to a person. Non-devotees cannot appreciate Krishna consciousness by reading the Srimad Bhagavatam or any other Vedic literature wherein the activities of the Lord are described. They think that these activities are fictional, manufactured stories because spiritual life is not explained to them in the proper mood. To understand the personal activities of the Lord, one has to seek the association of devotees. And by such association, when one contemplates and tries to understand the transcendental activities of the Lord, the path to liberation is open and he's freed. One who has firm faith in the Supreme Personality of Godhead becomes fixed, and his attraction for association with the Lord and the devotees increases. Association with devotees means association with the Lord. The devotee who makes this association develops the consciousness for rendering service to the Lord, and then, being situated in the transcendental position of devotional service, he gradually becomes perfect. Hare Krishna. For anyone who just joined us, we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 25, Text 25, a very famous verse. Satam prasangam mama virya samvido bhavanti hritkarna rasayana kata tasjosanat asa pavarga vartmanishada ratir bhaktir anukramishiti. It's a very important verse, and today we'd like to speak something about the importance of hearing Krishna Katha, and in particular the importance of hearing about Krishna's pastimes and the effect, the different stages of that. All of this is described in this verse. Hopefully we'll be able to get through this verse today. If not, maybe we'll continue for another session or two. We'll see. So Lord Kapila Dev begins by telling Mother Devahuti, Satam Prasangam. He says that in this satsanga, now a question may arise, what is the necessity of the prefix pra before the word sangha? What then is the difference between satsanga and, as Lord Kapila Dev says here, sat prasanga? Sat means a pure devotees or transcendental something. Satsanga is described in the 6th canto of the Bhagavatam, where it is said there that we should perform activities which are pious and which will help us. This is in the 1st chapter of 6th canto Srimad Bhagavatam. Let's see. Bring this up. Very interesting points being made there. Tapasa brahmacharjena samena cha damena cha chagena satya socha vyam yamena niyamena va dehavar buddham dira dharma gya shriyanvitaha chipanyagam mahadvayapi venu gomam ivanala. That one should perform austerity, one should be celibate, one should samena, control the mind, dhammena, control the senses, chagena, one should give charity, Prabhupada translates it. Tyaga means to give up things, but give charity, Prabhupada says. Satya socha vyam, one should be satya, truthful, one should be clean, internally and externally. Yamena, one should avoid violence, Prabhupada translates it in cursing. Niyamena, he translates by regularly chanting the holy name of the Lord. And one should do these things with their mind and body, shraddhanvita, with great faith. And it said that Kshipan Yadam Mahatapi Venugoman Ivanula, that if someone does this, then the roots of a tree, like a bamboo tree, may be burned by fire. And Prabhupada translates the verse. He says, to concentrate the mind, one must live a life of celibacy and not fall down. One must undergo the austerity of voluntarily giving up sense enjoyment. One must then control the mind and senses, give charity, be truthful, clean and nonviolent, follow the regulated principles, and regularly chant the holy name of the Lord. Thus, a sober and faithful person who knows the religious principles, right? So this is describing what is satsanga. What is satsanga? What is appropriate behavior? Prabhupada translates this verse from 6th canto. Thus, a sober and faithful person who knows the religious principles is temporarily purified of all sins performed with his body, words, and mind. These sins are like the dried leaves of creepers beneath a bamboo tree, which may be burned by fire, although their roots remain to grow again at the first opportunity. Then in the next verse, it's described by Sukadeva Goswami Maharaj Parikshit, a very important verse. He gives this verse. It says you should chant japa, you should be honest, you should do all these good things. And then in the next verse, he says that Kechit kevalaya bhaktya vasudeva parayanaha agam gudvanti kartsnena nirahamiva bhaskara. The only a rare person who's adopted, yelling because of the tractor in the background, only a rare person who's adopted complete, unalloyed devotional service to Krishna can uproot the weeds of sinful activities with no possibility they will revive. He can do this simply by discharging devotional service, just as the sun can immediately dissipate fog by its rays. Very interesting. Here in his translations, in these verses, Sukadeva Goswami is distinguishing. He's saying that in the first verse, that you should concentrate the mind, be celibate, don't fall down, be clean, follow regulated principles, regularly chant the holy names of the Lord. And if you do all those things, you'll become temporarily purified. But Kechit Kevalya Bhaktya, only a devotee who's engaged, who's Vasudeva Parayana, who's completely absorbed in worshiping Vasudeva Krishna, only that person can completely uproot all the weeds of sinful activities. And in the next verse, Sukadeva Goswami tells Maharaj Parikshit, Na tata yagavan rajan puyeta tapa adibi yata krishnarpita pranas tat purusha nisevaya. That if a sinful person, he may be a very sinful person, agavan, aga with the aga, agasura, aga means sin. Someone may be an agavan, a very sinful person. He says, but puyeta, he can become purified by engaging in the service of a devotee. And he says all these other things which I described, tapa adi, beginning with tapasya and brahmacharya, he said all these things are nonsense actually. They're not going to solve your problem. But only if you engage in the service of someone who's krishnarpita prana, whose life is krishnarpita, who's completely full of Krishna consciousness. If you tat purusha sevaya, you do seva to that devotee of Krishna, then everything will be auspicious. And a few verses later in text 19, Sukadeva Goswami tells Maharaj Parikshit, Sakanmana Krishna padada vindayor nivesitam tad gunaragi iha nateyamam pasa britascha tad bratan swapne pishyanti hirchiner nispitaha. He said, even though someone hasn't fully realized Krishna, if one time they've surrendered to Krishna, said, oh Krishna, I'm yours. I'm surrendering my everything to you. Sukadeva Goswami says, Sakrit means just once. Sakrit mana Krishna padada vindayo. Just one time you attach your mind to the lotus feet of Krishna. Niveshatam, in an attitude of complete surrender. Aguna ragi, which Prabhupada translates and says is somewhat attached to the qualities, name, fame, and paraphernalia of Krishna. Somewhat attached. Just one time you do this. Such a person is completely freed of all sinful reactions, for they've thus accepted the true method of atonement. Even in dreams, such surrendered souls do not see Yamaraj or his order carriers who are equipped with ropes to bind the sinful. And in his purport, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur quotes the verse from Gita 9:30, Apichet sudaracharo bhajate mam ananya bhaksadareva samantavya samyad hivyasitorisa. He says that even though someone may be a durachari sadhu, their behavior is very bad, but if they're doing ananyata bhajan, worshipping Krishna in a one-pointed way, then sadhureva samantavya, that person is a sadhu. So, beautiful verse. Although someone's not fully realized Krishna, they just once surrendered completely to him. We were hearing an explanation of the Apichet Sudarachara verse a few days ago from one of Prabhupada's disciples on the memories. Maybe one of you here remember who it was. And he was saying that someone went to Srila, who was it that was saying this? Someone went to Srila Prabhupada and they said that what if someone, it says that there's 10 offenses of the holy name. He's speaking about his initiation ceremony. Who? Yeah, maybe it was Kula Shekhar. Prabhupada was speaking about the 10 offenses of the holy name. And when he spoke about Namboli Pap Budi, to commit some offense in the strength of the holy name, and so somebody asked the question, well, Prabhupada, what's the difference between committing it intentionally and unintentionally? And Prabhupada gave a very amazing definition, which this devotee mentioned how he'd seen Prabhupada exhibiting over the years, that Prabhupada considered that if someone, this was Umapati Maharaj who was saying this, we believe, that Prabhupada considered that if someone went away, even for a few years, but if they came back, it meant that it was accidental. Their fall down was accidental. They came back. Wow, that's a very, very merciful. So this verse reminds me of that. Although not having fully realized Krishna, someone just once surrenders to him completely, and they become attracted by his name-forming qualities and pastimes, which is what's being spoken of in this verse today by Lord Kapila Dev. And we're mentioning how Lord Kapila Dev, he's making a point. What we're making this point, what is the difference between Sangha and Prasanga? What is the necessity of him using the prefix pra before the word Sangha? And in the purport to this verse, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says there's a difference. Prasanga means someone hears directly about Krishna. Satsanga means you're told, now you should follow the regulated principles. Be a nice person. Be honest. Feed your family. Don't beat your wife. Serve your husband. Follow Varnashram Dharma. That's Satam Sangha. But Satam Prasanga, something more, means to hear directly about Krishna. And therefore, like Kapila Dev says, Mama Virya Samvido, that you hear Mama Virya about my wonderful activities, my heroic activities, Samvida, and uses the word Samvida, which means some discussion. Again, this is a synonym for the word prasanga. What is it, the word in the 11th canto of the Bhagavatam we quote? Parasparana Katanam. That there should be some back and forth. Paraspara means back and forth. So this kind of kata, Lord Kapila Dev tells his mother, it's bhavanti hritkarna. It's so nice for the heart and the ear. In fact, it's rasayana kata. It's a rasayana. Rasayana in Sanskrit is, the word is also used in Ayurvedic medicine. It refers to something which gives us life. Or rasayana also is something which gives rasa. This is rasayana kata. It's, he says, Josanat as apavarga, he uses the word asu. Asu means very, very quickly. Asu, this is what will happen. He says, anukramishati. Anukram, there's going to be a sequence of events given in this verse. I think we're going to have to speak about this verse again tomorrow also. Such an important verse. I'm saying we're not getting as far as I wanted so quickly. So he says, there's a sequence of events. Apavarga Vartmani, when you're on this path, the Varta, this path, then the first thing is Apavarga, you become liberated. And after you become liberated, then Shraddha, Ratir, Bhakti, Anukramishati. This sequence of events happens, beginning with Shraddha. You develop firm faith, then Rati, attraction, and then Bhakti, Anukramishati. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, in his Sarartha Darshani commentary on this verse, he says that Shraddha, Ratir, Bhakti, Anukramishati indicates Vaidhi Bhakti, Shraddha, Bhav Bhakti, by saying Rati, and by saying the word Bhakti, he indicates Prem Bhakti. So this verse indicates there's an anukrama. There's a sequence of events which will happen by beginning with the Satam Prasanga, by hearing Krishna Katha from devotees, hearing directly about Krishna. One will develop faith, which indicates Vaidhi Bhakti, and then will come rati or attraction, which indicates bhav bhakti. And then by saying bhakti, he indicates prem bhakti. One will go through these sequence of events just by hearing Krishna Katha in association with devotees. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, it's described in Madhya Lila chapter 23. This verse is quoted there. And the anukrama, or the sequence of events, is also described. Kona bhage kona jive, shraddha jadi hoya, tabe se jiva sadhu, sangha jay koroya. If by good fortune a living entity develops faith in Krishna, then he'll begin to associate with devotees. So Rupa Goswami describes in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Adosha Tata Sadhu Sangha Tato Bhajana Priya Tato Nartha Nivritisya Tato Nishta Ruchista Ka Tasakis Tato Bhavas Tata Prema Abhyudanchati Sadakanam Mayam Premna Padurbhave Bhavet Krama. As we like to tell devotees sometimes, just pretend that you're in India. We don't have to pretend. We have lots of noisy vehicles and things in the background. So there's an anukramishiti, there's a krama, or sequence of events, which begins with shraddha, with faith. So again, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila 22, it's described 5 processes of devotional service. It's a famous verse, but many devotees haven't considered that this verse also describes an anukrama, or a sequence of events. Sadhu Sangha Nam Kirtan Bhagavat Shravan Mathura Basa Srimutara Shraddhaya Sevam. It begins with Sadhu Sangha. And then after Sadhu Sangha comes Nam Kirtan. Then after Nam Kirtan comes Bhagavat Shravan. Then after Bhagavat Shravan comes Mathura Bas. And then after Mathura Bas comes Mathura Shraddhaya Seva, or serving the deity with faith. So in the beginning, our spiritual life, Jiva Goswami comments in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the beginning of our spiritual life is association with the devotee. And from that association, we develop some shraddha, we develop some faith in the devotees. Initially, that faith is lukewarm, it's kanishta, it's not nishtha, it's not fixed. And we have more faith in the rituals and things that we see the devotee doing. And so we see many people, when they begin to come to Krishna consciousness, they come because the devotee preached to them, but they're thinking initially that, oh, this waving the incense and these things, this is really high class. This is the rituals that they see. They're more impressed with those, and they don't appreciate the devotee so much. But as they progress, as their heart becomes more purified, then they come to appreciate the devotees more. Oh, the devotees are very, very special. I love the devotees. And of course, someone may go right to that stage. It's not that everyone in this life is going to come to the same stage immediately. Some other persons may have been very advanced from a previous life. So the first thing is in association with devotees. And by association with devotees, you develop faith in Nam Kirtan. Now there's already Nam Kirtan there, but now you have a deeper faith in Nam Kirtan. And therefore Jagadananda Pandit in Prema Vivarta, he says, I only need 2 things. Sadhu Sangha Krishna Nam E Matra Chai. I just need association with the devotees and chant the holy name. Another meaning of this verse is that to chant the holy name, I have to have faith in the devotees. To have faith in the devotees requires chanting the holy name. The 2, Nam Kirtan and Sadhu Sangha, are in cause and effect. By association with devotees, I get Kirtan. I get the holy name. And then by that chanting of the holy name, I get deeper Sadhu Sangha. From that deeper Sadhu Sangha, I get deeper Nam Kirtan. And from that deeper Nam Kirtan, I get yet deeper Sadhu Sangha. And from that even deeper Sadhu Sangha, I get even deeper Nam Kirtan. And in this way, the 2 are in cycle. So Mahaprabhu says these 5 activities of devotional service: sadhu sangha, nam kirtan, bhagavat shravan. In the beginning we have sadhu sangha, and then we develop deeper faith in the holy name. The holy name may be there from the very beginning. We hear the holy name on Harinam, but we don't have so much faith in it until we associate deeper with the sadhus. And then by chanting the holy name with some faith, we become more purified. And then we come to the point of Bhagavat Shravan. That's a very high class level, when we have faith in hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. Srila Prabhupada describes in this purport that it's not enough for a non-devotee to read Srimad Bhagavatam, but they have to hear from a devotee. The first time that I came in contact with Srila Prabhupada's books was, I don't know, like maybe 1970, sometime between 70 and 72. I was a young boy growing up in Colorado Springs, Colorado, and I used to go sometimes and play in an old abandoned house that no one was living in. And some hippies or someone had gone and was staying there, and they'd taken pictures from Srila Prabhupada's Krishna book and pasted them on the walls. Now, as a young boy, I was very interested somehow in philosophy, and I was interested in Greek mythology and Roman mythology and different traditions, religious traditions around the world. Excuse me. And I prided myself, I'm a young boy, but I had some pride that I know about philosophy, I know about different religions and things. But when I came in touch with these pictures from Srila Prabhupada's books, it was quite startling for me. Because looking at them, I could understand a few things. I could understand this is something religious. I could understand this is something about God. I could also understand there's a tradition, a long-term tradition here, because obviously these are stories, and this artwork is done by different artists. It's quite developed artwork. I could understand there's a developed tradition, and so this tradition comes from someplace, and there was no text. I didn't understand where they were coming from or anything. I could have some vague idea it was from India somehow. But I had no clue. I look at the picture, this little blue boy with his cows and the pretty girls around him. I thought, what in the world is this? I could not understand until I came in touch with the devotee. But even then I couldn't really understand until Sadhu Sangha Nam Kirtan. I began to chant the holy name. And then by that chanting I came to a higher degree of faith. So this is what is being spoken of by Lord Kapila here. Satam Prasangam. First we have to do something to purify our heart. We have to do something pious by which we get Sadhu Sangha. It's described in the Brihanaradiya Purana. Satam Prasangam Mama Virya Samvido Bhavanti Vitkarna Visayan, excuse me, Bhakti Stu Bhagavad Bhakta Sangena Parijayate. That, here they come again with the tractor. Try to yell some more. That bhakti comes by association with the devotees. And the verse goes on to describe that association with devotees comes because of some piety. That's the reason why we come in contact with the devotees at first, but it's also that piety which helps us to understand the devotees. And sometimes even people joining this movement, they don't understand, appreciate the devotees for a long time, because their heart has to be purified enough to do that. And then when they have serious association with the devotees, then they'll have a deeper appreciation of the holy name. And from that deeper appreciation of the holy name, they'll come to the high class platform of having some taste for Krishna Katha, hearing Krishna Katha. And then by developing faith in Krishna Katha, and their heart becomes more purified, now they're having faith in something higher, that God has a form. Sometimes people, they see the devotees, all these people are saintly, and then they hear the chanting, all this chanting, this is some great process. They have faith in that, but they can't understand Srimad Bhagavatam. They can't understand that God is a person. But by association with the devotees, by doing kirtan, they develop gradually faith in hearing philosophy. And then by hearing the philosophy, they become more advance to the point where they can understand, oh, God is a person. And then they can come to the point of Maturabhas, coming to live in the holy Dham. Otherwise, what does it mean to live in the Dham? There's so many demons who live in the Dham. My Guru Maharaj used to say that Putana and Kamsa, they're Dhambasis, right? Both of them are born in Braj. But we don't consider them to be Dhambasis because Dhambas is a consciousness which comes through Sadhu Sangha, Nam Kirtan, Bhagavat Shravan. And then after you come to appreciate something of the holy Dham and Krishna's pastimes there, then properly Sri Murtira Shradaya Seva, you can do actual service for the deity. So there's a sequence being described in this verse we're reading from today, that there's this Rasayana Kata. Another implication of the word Rasayana is that there's some sickness going on, because therefore you need to have some Rasayana, you need to have some medicine. This is spoken about in the Upadeshamrita by Srila Rupa Goswami in text 7. Shat Krishna Nama Charitari Sitapja Vidya Pittopatapta Rasanasya Narochikanu Kint Adaradhanudinam Kalusaiva Justa Svadvikramad Bhavati Tadgadamula Hantri. Again, the same word is used here, kramad, which Prabhupada translates there, gradually. There's a sequence of events. And this verse is describing that Shat Krishna Nama Charitari, that if someone hears these pastimes of Krishna, charit, about the character of Krishna, these things are like sita, they're like sugar candy, they're very, very nice. But someone has some avidya, some ignorance, some sickness, just like jaundice. If someone has jaundice and you offer them some sugar cane, which is a medicine for jaundice, that sugar cane tastes terrible. But Rupa Goswami says, Pitto patapta, pitta, it's very, very bitter in the beginning. Pitto patapta, because someone's afflicted with this bile. But rasanasya narochikanu, it doesn't taste palatable in the beginning. He says, but kintu, kintu means but, kintadarat anudinam, anudinam, day by day. If one adarat, carefully chants these holy names, if they hear these things in association with devotees, kalusai, the jushta, you're taking that sugar candy in that way. Then swadvi kramad, swadvi, you'll get some ruchi, you'll get some taste eventually. Now, kramad bhavati tad garamula hantri. And that root of ignorance will be destroyed. And then the next verse continues to speak about the sequence of events. I think we'll speak more about this verse tomorrow, but I'll just touch on it today. Tanama rupa charitari sukirtananu smityo kramena rasana manasini yoja tishtan brajeta raruragi jananugami kalam nayeda kilam ityupadesha saram. He says, Rupa Goswami says, this is Upadesha Saram. I've given this book, which is Upadesh Amrit. Upadesh Amrit, Amrit means nectar, or something essential. And out of all the verses, this one verse only has this phrase, Upadesha Saram. Sara means also essential. So this Upadesh Amrit is essential advice. But out of all the essential advice, this is the essence of the essence. This 8th verse. And what is that? Tanama rupa charitari sukirtananu. That we should hear about Krishna's name, we should hear his name, we should hear about his name, we should hear about his root, his form, his charit, his pastimes and character, and so on. And we should do sukirtana. Sukirtana anusmityo. Sukirtan, why not just kirtan? What is the difference between kirtan and sukirtan? It means discussing it very nicely. What does it mean to be nice discussion? It means I'm hearing from the devotees. Then it becomes very, very nice. Otherwise, just like that little boy in Colorado Springs looking at the pictures of Krishna on the wall, what do you get? Ironically, something happened to me at that time in my life. I didn't know any vegetarians in my life. I'd never read a book about vegetarianism. But around that time, when I started looking at those pictures from Prabhupada's books, I became a vegetarian. I just decided on my own that meat eating is very bad. Actually, I always hated it anyway. But somehow that resolution came to me at that time. So Sukirtan, nice kirtan, because we're repeating what we've heard. And it's anusmityo. It's not just smitya. Smitya means to remember, but anusmitya, again, anu means to follow. I'm following in remembrance that I've gotten from the devotees. Anusmityo kramena, again, this word krama is used. That gradually, kramena rasana manasi niyoja, that gradually the tongue, rasana, and the mind, manasi niyoja, they become engaged in this. And then, tishtan braje, then you can reside in Braj. It's the same point we're making from Chaitanya Charitamrita. There's a sequence beginning with Sadhu Sangha, Nam Kirtan, Bhagavat Shravan, Dambas, Srimurti Seva. So he says, Rupa Goswami says, Tistan Bhaje Tananuragi Jana Anugami. Anuraga Jana Anugami. You become Anuraga Jana. You become attached to these persons who are speaking this thing. And then Anugami, you follow them. Kalam Nayat, Akilam. This is Akila. Akila Rasamrita Murti. That phrase is, Akila means completely full. Akila Rasamrita Murti means that form of the Lord is full of all rasa. So Kalam Nayat Akilam. This is how you should spend all your time. You should be doing the Sukirtan, Anusmityo. Sukirtan, nice kirtan, you're repeating what you've heard. Anusmitya, you're remembering what you've heard. And then Kramena, there's a sequence of events. This, Rupa Goswami says, is Utyupadesha Sadhana. This is the essence of all advice. So tomorrow, I'd like to speak something further about what this prasanga means. How this prasanga means that we're hearing direct Krishna Katha. In his commentary on this 8th verse of Upadeshamrita, which we're finding similarities, strong similarities to this verse from the 25th chapter of the 3rd canto. In their commentaries, both Bhaktivinoda and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati speak about different stages which begin with what Prabhupada calls, Bhaktisiddhanta calls, Shravana Dasa, or the stage of hearing. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur says there's 2 types of Shravana Dasa, which we'll speak more about tomorrow. Krama Sudha Shravana Dasa and Kramahina Shravana Dasa. Thank you very much. Krama Sudha Shravana Dasa means proper hearing and chanting, which Bhaktivinoda says it means hearing directly about Krishna's pastimes. Whereas Kramahina Shravana Dasa is improper hearing. It's Kramahina. The sequence is not proper. And that indicates, amongst other things we'll discuss tomorrow, it indicates that someone's not hearing directly Krishna Katha. So tomorrow I'd like to speak something more from Thakur Bhaktivinoda, from Jaiva Dharma, and also from Chaitanya Siksamrita. What is the qualification to hear Krishna Katha? Because this is another question devotees often have, because sometimes Srila Prabhupada and Srila Bhaktisiddhanta or other acharyas, they've cautioned us not to run quickly to hear about the topics of the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam. But it becomes confusing because Srila Prabhupada gave Krishna book, and he wanted that Krishna book distributed to everyone. If that Krishna book had not been distributed to everyone, and some hippie maybe got it at some rock concert, we used to go and distribute those books at the concert and say, just see, George Harrison signed this copy. We would tell them they're completely on drugs. They don't know anything. And they'd see George Harrison's signature. wow, man, how much is it? And they take the book. And then maybe they cut the pictures out of that book later on and they stick them on the wall of some abandoned house. And some young child sees those pictures and by some good fortune begins their spiritual life. So we're going to stop here. We've gone a little 5 minutes overtime. I'm sorry for that. We want to try to be proper and on time every day. Samati, Hare Krishna, nice to see you. I also heard the devotees in Paris are listening every day to these classes as their official Bhagavatam class. I don't know if that's totally true or not, but that's what one of the devotees from Paris wrote me. So Hare Krishna to the devotees in Paris who are there. Madhupati Prabhu. Alex Zarnif has written in. Thank you very much. Brajavanita. Sumati. Madhupati Prabhu has written. An aspect of this process is that those fortunate persons who receive the association of devotees should also give their association for others to also receive devotional service. Otherwise, Lord Chaitanya's mission cannot go on. You set a wonderful association for all of us to follow. Hare Krishna. Thank you, thank you, thank you. What a wonderful, beautiful comment. Sumati has written, what a beautiful point of interdependent cycle between Kirtan and Sadhu Sangha. Hare Krishna Natalia has written in. Mala Frank, Hare Krishna. Mitravinda Devi Dasi has written. She's made some comments from Hare Krishna Mitravinda. Thank you for taking part. We really appreciate it. And Janava Mataji's here also. And Mitravinda is really making a lot of notes today. Thank you. Alex has made a comment. So many demons living in the Dham. I remember in the book of your Guru Maharaj, he was explaining from Vaishnava K about a building of Brijvasis that they always engage in Sukirtan. Yes, thank you very much for reminding me of that. And the Radhika Radha from Vrindavan, she's commenting. Hare Krishna, bhakti doesn't depend on anything, but the pious activities are helpful. They bring one to the path of bhakti yoga, right? Very nice comment, very important comment. It's said in the 11th canto of the Bhagavatam that bhakti sanjayate bhakti, that bhakti is dependent only on bhakti. Bhakti, Srila Prabhupada once said, someone asked him a question, actually it was, a sannyasi who passed away a few years ago, Madhulisa Prabhu. He asked, Prabhupada spoke something about Varnashram Dharma. And he asked a question a lot of us have, I think. He said, Prabhupada, do we have to follow Varnashram Dharma? And where are we at in Varnashram Dharma? And Prabhupada asked him a question for his reply. Prabhupada said, were you following Varnashram Dharma before you became a devotee? And they said, no, Srila Prabhupada. And Prabhupada then said, where did your good fortune come from? He said, your good fortune didn't come from following Varnashram Dharma. On another occasion, Prabhupada didn't explain any further then, but on another occasion, Prabhupada told the devotees, I've created your good fortune. Your good fortune came because of association with Srila Prabhupada. But still, Bhaktivinoda Thakur in Chaitanya Charitamrita, he describes 3 different types of sukriti. Jnana-mukhi sukriti, karma-mukhi sukriti, and bhakti-mukhi sukriti. Karma-mukhi sukriti are activities of karma which lead one to karma, meaning Varnashram Dharma, etc. Jnana-mukhi sukriti are activities of scholarship and meditation which lead one to the process of jnana. And bhakti-mukhi sukriti are activities of maybe bhakti, they may be agyata, they may be performed unknowingly, but they will lead one to the path of bhakti eventually. So Radhika Radha is making this point. The pious activities are helpful. We should increase our sukriti, because that sukriti will help to give us sadhu sangha. The sukriti will help us. But we shouldn't think that I'm dependent on sukriti. I'm dependent on bhakti. I'm dependent on sadhu sangha. I'm dependent on these 5 angas of bhakti spoken about by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sadhu sangha, nam kirtan, bhagavat shravan, dambasa, and murtira seva. These 5 things I'm dependent on. Mami Thakur, Hare Krishna, nice to see you. Thank you for taking part today. And Mitravinda is saying, thank you to your good wife for making this available like water in the desert. I owe so much to Krishna Kund. Anapayani Radha has also been very, very helpful. And Michael Lategano, sounds Italian. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you very much. So many thanks to all the devotees taking part. If anybody else has any comments or questions, you can type it in right now. Otherwise, now we're going to turn to the devotees here in our ashram. Beginning with Anapani Radha. If she wants to say something, she has to stand up, come over near the computer, and shout.
I have a question about the Sadhu Sangha Bhajan Bhagavad Shravan Dan Das Sri Murti Seva. So there is particular order, and I try to figure it out. So after Sadhu Sangha, you're getting opportunity to do your bhajan, and as you explained, the more you do, the more deeply you're doing your bhajan, you will.
Rupa Goswami says that those Shraddha Sadhu Sangha Tato Bhajana Kriya. Bhajana Kriya comes after Sadhu Sangha. But many times we're doing Bhajana Kriya with Sadhu Sangha, or we're doing it even sometimes really before Sadhu Sangha.
I just wanted to ask the question. So yeah, and so then after Bhagavad Shravan coming Dham Bas. So, but before, for example, if you're staying in Dham, you're not staying in Dham. It means
before you come to the platform, and it doesn't mean that what does it mean? What do these 5 things mean? It's not just that externally I'm living in the temple, therefore I'm doing Sadhu Sangha. That's not really doing Sadhu Sangha. Just because I'm like a mosquito with the devotees. Yeah. Or I'm chanting the holy name. Bhaktivinoda Jagadananda Pandit says that Krishna Nama Beti Nam Kabunoi. He says that there's a syllables coming from some people's mouths, but it's not the holy name. So these things are in truth. So when someone comes to the platform of Bhagavad Shravan, where they're hearing and appreciating, they have a taste for Krishna Katha, then that gives them adhikar for living in the Dham. Because if we don't have the taste for Krishna's pastimes, how can we appreciate the Dham?
So, and there should be some particular degree of the state that you can...
Well, that degree will be different. It may be very, very little degree. Yeah. And then correspondingly, our Dham Bas is also very, very shallow. And mostly we need to be on top of the Dham, not in the Dham. Yeah. And as we go deeper, we'll appreciate the Dham more. Okay? Amsumati's written a question. How to be healthy, selective in one's shravan, yet not offensive. This is something I want to speak more about tomorrow also, but I'll touch on today since Amsumati's asking. It's very important that in the beginning we hear that we have to hear Krishna Katha. And Jiva Goswami says that in the beginning we're hearing Krishna Katha from many people. But at a certain point of purification of the heart, we can appreciate more sadhus. We can appreciate more when we hear someone speaking in a very nice way. And we see the feelings that person has in their heart. And Jiva Goswami and Bhakti Sandarbha says then we begin to focus more on hearing from that person. But the question comes, is implicit in your question, that we don't want to be offensive. We also have a social responsibility to attend Bhagavatam class, to hear Krishna Katha with the regular devotees, because if we don't do that, how can we have devotee community? It's very, very important. But at the same time, sometimes the Bhagavatam classes are not always what they should be, to be really honest. Sometimes we have different devotees speaking, and they're not always so expert. But we go to the Bhagavatam class because we're hearing from Prabhupada's verse and purports. And we're hearing together because this will help us as a community. But I want to hear more from some other person. So that shouldn't be offensive. We should give respect to everyone. But I want to hear more from my Gurudev. Jiva Goswami says that generally, when we find someone we'd like to hear more from, that person becomes either a Diksha Guru or a Siksha Guru. And there shouldn't be any offense. We should offer all respect to all the Vaishnavas, and we want to hear, but politely we want to hear more from someone who's more advanced. It doesn't mean we don't go to Bhagavatam class, even if someone is speaking that we know doesn't know Shastra. And I remember hearing one Bhagavatam class in Vrindavan. Oh my God. It was in Vrindavan. It was Kartik. It was a senior devotee speaking. And the most Krishna conscious thing he said in the whole class was that Krishna is blue, and so is Spider-Man and Superman. They're also blue. And therefore Krishna is like Spider-Man or Superman. I was very, very depressed. But the verse and purport were read, and there was association with the devotees. So we want to be faithful to Srila Prabhupada. We want to help Srila Prabhupada's movement. We want to develop a community, and this community spirit is going to be developed by hearing and chanting together. So I hope that's helpful, Srimati. We'll speak more about this tomorrow. Anything left? Krishna Kron, do you want to make any quick comments? You have to come over by the computer and speak real loud if you want.
I really liked how you put together this little description about the difference between Sangha and Prasanga, how you quoted from the 6th canto, beginning of the 6th canto, about description of Varnashram Dharma really, and description of pious activities, coming up to Kejit Kevala Bhaktya, and
then the Sadhu Sangha.
I'm coming to that. I would like to come to that anyway. And then up to Sadhu Sangha, but I wanted to make a comment there that I was marveling on the mercy of Krishna and on the mercy of Bhagavatam and the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. This verse, this Sakrid Mana Krishna Padara Vindayo.
It's such a verse, isn't it?
It's amazing that Bhagavatam doesn't say, Prabhupada doesn't say that you have to be sold out to Krishna. Just once, become somewhat attached, just a little bit. It's just really amazing to me. And then to put this in contrast with the essence of all essence,
The essence of all essence.
which is really just to Akilams, full time, whole time, standing directly speaking and hearing about Krishna. And I was also struck by, I don't know when you said, it was in the Sukirtana in Srila Kamena. You mentioned this Sukirtana means nicely discussing. It reminded me of a statement of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta that I was trying to find, but I haven't found it. But Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur speaks specifically about how Kirtanam implies that someone has heard in Parampara. And I wanted to find this quote, but I haven't found it, but it's definitely Bhaktisiddhanta. I try to find it for tomorrow.
Okay. Thank you very much, and dear devotees. Subhal Shankar was here also. Thank you very much. Nice to hear from everybody. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for listening. So we'll be here again tomorrow, the same time, 8:10 in the morning to 8:45 Indian time. And if you like this, you can click subscribe and take part. Thank you all very much. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.